Department of Energy. They said in 2010 the price of oil should be $21 per barrel. In 2020, 22. International Agency said 2027. European Commission 2024. Canada Department of Energy 21-22. Standard & Poor's 17-20. Breakdown Economics 19-20. And then we have the pride of Germany, Deutsche Bank. They said, we believe that the price of oil in 2010 should be $18 per barrel, and it should not increase more than nothing till 2020, then it should also be $18 per barrel. Can anyone tell me what is the price of oil now?
Still cheap. But we today are.
Yeah, you see, they were 300% off. And what we said in 2002 is right off. Who has responsibility for the situation that we have now? I think that Deutsche Bank, as we are in Germany, I just put them on the table here. Are you responsible for what you're saying? Of course you are. Because the government now will believe that you are right, and they made a policy for the future according to these numbers. And I would say that the economical price that we have today has not been as it is now if they had listened to us. Because what they have decided from then to now should be completely different. If they had known the price of oil, the price of energy should be different. So it might be tough to say that blame Deutsche Bank for part of the global crisis in the economy. Ask the directors, how come that it could be that wrong, 300%? Today we are claiming responsibility for BP because they had a failure in the Gulf of Mexico. They should clean up and pay for it. How much should Deutsche Bank pay for the price that you have in Germany now? Ask them, I don't know. I mean, but this is the way the economies are doing, you know. They are putting forecasts like this, you know, and it's right nice. It's great. And what they have is what I call the roller forecast. They can only use one thing, and that's a roller. There are computers, and you can do quite fantastic economical models. We are working on a completely new set of economical models in Uppsala University. You will see. We are also collaborating with China, because you must know something about China when you talk about the future. And we have written agreements with the Chinese. And that gives a fantastic possibility for my research group in Uppsala, because now we get data from China. So we can do the accurate calculations of China's future in energy production. And we have a first paper out, peer-reviewed paper. They even agreed that we should call the paper The Long March for the Chinese Giant Oil Fields. What will happen from now in China? Okay, this is what happened. The Chinese production in the giant oil fields will go down like this, and there is some uncertainty. This is the number that the Chinese accept themselves. What will this mean for the world? Enormous. The thing is now, when the increase of use of oil in China is 10% per oil, it means that the import need will increase with 20%. They will just buy everything. And that will affect us in Europe very much, because when we have peak oil or plateau, we have a limit of oil available, and China takes their share, and what is over, we have to split with the US. This will affect us maybe more than many people would like to think about. But how come that the economists, the International Agency, I mean, this is economists, chef economists, you know, what is the secret? And this is the secret, that the world, when it comes to the last 20 years, have not seen an increase in the global economy without an increase of use of oil. So they cannot make a forecast into the future without having an increase of use of oil. Because if they are saying we have a peak, then they are saying there is no growth in the economy anymore. And of course they cannot say that. So they start at that point, and then they try to get the oil to get an increase, and that's why they're using these crazy numbers with depletion rates as a national floor. So it's understandable. But how come in the end here, we have still something like 4% increase in GDP, but the oil consumption is decreasing? How come? That's ethanol. That's ethanol. Because ethanol replaces gasoline. It replaces oil. So if you take it, that's exactly, if you convert the ethanol to oil, you still have the high number. But for you here in Germany, I have something to tell you that you don't need to think about. What is ethanol replacing? It replaces gasoline. It don't replace diesel. It don't replace diesel. And how do you get diesel? That is one fraction when you put oil into a refinery. And if you don't need so much gasoline, then you will get less diesel in the future. So I forecast shortage of diesel in the near future because of increase of use of ethanol. So when the European Union are saying that we should have 10% blender of ethanol into our mix, that means they will take away something like 13% of the diesel possibility, because diesel is not used when the gas is. So again, as you're using a lot of diesel cars in this country, gas was not. So the future, that is energy in general and economic growth. It is for the US Energy Information Administration. The low economic growth, increase like that, and the high. Again, never ever in history has we had an increase in economy without using more energy. Never ever.